Welcome to another episode of the 116 Live here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140, man. Shout out to everyone that's tuned in to us right here, right now. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Meah Evans, and I'm here with twinning them because Ace and I are 2 and 2 once again. It's just another level of locked in. How you doing, brother?
I'm feeling really good, I feel like it's been a good conversation of stuff that we've been having offline, and excited for this conversation too. But overall, I feel really good, really blessed, charged up. Yeah, I'm on one right now. So let's
no, for real, bro. I'm excited. We have a guest in studio. I would probably say, I don't know if you could probably agree, played a big part of trailblazing Christian R&B, man, and super passionate, super talented at what he does. Bringing forth the first ever Christian R&B festival, which is crazy. And y'all, he's in studio. Hit Ace up, and we're grateful for that. Shout out to young Kriss, who was in the building.
What's going on, y'all?
Bro,
how you feeling?
Thank you for being here. I appreciate you for reaching out to Ace, because that makes our job a lot easier. You know, because we love that you're able to pull up, and man, we're just so happy to have you. Talk to us. How are things on your end? How is life right now?
Man, life is lifing. You know what I'm saying? Life is good, man. I'm in a season of life where I'm really experiencing a lot of shaping things, right? Things that shape your character, things that shape the way we think, things that process us. And so I'm in a season of that, while also being in a really good season where God is like showing me vision, and he's showing me where we're going with this thing, Christian R&B. But yeah, it's an interesting season. You know what I mean?
That's dope, man. I feel like it's good to connect with you, man. I know we first connected in Nashville at the Doves Latin Showcase.
It was before that.
Oh, before that?
It was the year before that. I didn't know at a Doves showcase, the hip hop showcase at Rocketown.
That's right.
You walked in with Limo.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was like, I remember thinking, I was like, dang, Limo tall. I was like, dang, Ace tall. I was like, everybody out here just tall.
This man a whole like NBA player.
Right, facts.
Like, I'm so used to I be forgetting how tall I am.
Like Michael Porter Jr.
You know what I'm saying? When I get it, exactly. But I was like, dang, everybody out here. I felt like I was in good company.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's ain't like walking in the room with Limo and Kriss. Sometimes you be like, yo, we feel like a daggone basketball team.
Yeah, you be feeling like the point guard on the team.
I'm definitely the point guard.
But no, so then the next year, I did the hip hop showcase and placed for Don Reddy, my brother, and then we locked in at the Latin showcase.
Sure,
and I was there to support my homie Kriss.
That's right. Yeah. I remember we had a good conversation. He seemed like really genuine. We had to kind of connected, and I was like, you see what he's doing in the space, and you want to make space to just make connections. But I'm from the old school, so I ain't gonna lie. I have to ask you this question. Like young Kriss, the hip hop me when I saw your name, I was like, bro, there was already a young Kriss, man. The Rockefeller me, right? So tell me how, like, do you get that a lot, or now is that like something?
So what's crazy is I used to get like my Apple Music used to pop up, and it would pull up like some other young Kriss that was like not the same type of music as mine, and I would have fans reach out and be like, hey, this is not the music that I thought I was listening to. But outside of that, like I've never heard of another young Kriss. Maybe that's just like from me not listening to that type of music. But
basically, you really saved, and I'm not. It's all good.
No. No. What it is like, see, I grew up listening to like Michael Jackson. Gotcha. I grew up listening to Usher. You know what I'm saying? And I grew up on hip hop too. But my era of hip hop was like Ludacris, T.I.,
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Wayne. Yeah. Like that's what I was growing up on.
For sure.
But nah, too safe.
I think it's dope that you spell it the way you spell it, because the Rockefeller artist Young Kriss, who was signed to Jay-Z's label and it was kind of popping like the late 90s, early 2000s, spells it obviously
the normal way. C-H-R. Yeah.
And I think it's dope because so there's this artist on Elevation Worship, Chris Brown.
Yeah, Chris Brown.
It be throwing me.
I be like, Chris Brown
ain't singing those.
He's singing The Lord
Chris
Made a Way.
Came to the Lord.
Yeah.
I wish he could put like his middle name, like Michael B. Jordan, Chris something. Just because I feel like it's hard. It be throwing me off sometimes.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Whenever I came up with my name, I remember thinking like this was back in the day, like when I was wanting to be a rapper. right? And so everybody was making their names either Lil something or Young something.
Right.
And so
Couldn't be old.
Yeah. And so like my real name is Logan. So my first name is actually Logan.
Okay.
My middle name is Kriss.
Okay.
And so growing up, I've always hated the name Logan. So shout out mom and dad. I'm sorry.
Tell me why you hated it.
It's not y'all's fault. But man, honestly, like, I think 2 reasons. I think one of them is silly and the other one, like one of them is in my grade, in my class where I grew up, there was 2 other Logans.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
And so anytime, and they were both rich and popular. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't go to a school with a lot of black people. So, and I'm biracial. So like I already stood out. You know what I'm saying? So anytime that someone said Logan, I would be like, I turn and they're like, nah, not you. So I'm like, bro, bump that name. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I didn't
Back to the drawing board.
You know what I'm saying? But then also like I look at my 2 older brothers, Leslie and Jordan, and I'm like, man, they got some dope names. And then came to me, and obviously I'm the lightest of the skin of the family. So they was like, you know what, Logan? I was like, I was like, but once I get older and the Lord do a work in me, we going by Kriss.
Not even Kriss, young Kriss.
Young Kriss.
With a Y-U-N-G.
Right.
Yeah, I feel that. That's super dope. I mean, I'm curious, like your childhood, like, I mean, we're gonna get into the music stuff, but I'm just curious, like, where did you grow up? Where you from? Like, what is your? Tell me like your walk. Tell me like all of it. Like, help us unpack it.
There's a lot of mystery about me.
There is definitely a lot of mystery. Because
people be like, man, where is this dude from? Where did he come from?
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of people think that I'm like from LA or like the West Side. I don't know if it's like the hairstyle or what it is, maybe the extrovertedness, but I'm actually from Indiana. So I'm a Hoosier. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the Midwest. I'm from low key like the country area.
You do not sound like it.
Nah,
not at all.
That's what people like. I've had people say stuff like, "Man, you sound like you could be from like New York or something." I'm like, "That's crazy. I don't hear it." But then whenever I get to talking to people and I say stuff like y'all, and you know what I'm saying, then they're like, I hear it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm from a small town in Indiana. I tell people I'm from the city where Larry Bird went to college, right? So I'm from a city called Terre Haute, Indiana. So that's where Larry Bird went to play in college at ISU.
What was the color of the uniform?
Blue and white.
Yeah,
they're the sycamores.
Sycamores. Yeah. That's old school.
And so
that's crazy.
That's where I'm from. So like, but where I grew up in like northern Terre Haute, where it's predominantly white. But a lot of my family, especially on my dad's side, is from like Chicago, and they traveled to Terre Haute years back. And then a lot of my other family lives in like southern Terre Haute. But yeah, I grew up in a predominantly like white neighborhood. I'm the youngest of 4. So by the time they got to me, my dad had worked himself out of poverty to where they were able to get a house where it wasn't like in the slums. You know what I'm saying? And where I'm from, and even where I live now, typically like Black culture lives where there's poverty, which is crazy. And it's something that like my city that I've been living in, we've been tackling that as an issue. But yeah, I'm from Indiana, Midwest, baby.
How close are y'all to Chicago?
Chicago's like 3 hours.
Okay.
I say 2.5 if you drive like
How
me.
close are y'all to Gary, Indiana?
Gary's like, I think it's like 2 hours maybe.
Okay. In that direction or different?
You go that direction, but then you split off somewhere.
Because Gary, I feel like it's like a offshoot of Chicago. It's like,
exactly. Yeah, Gary. You got Gary. You got what is it? Hammond. You got I gotta see a map now, but yeah,
I got you in geography class right now. My bad.
Yeah, all those.
I'm
are
literally
in
curious.
Within that area.
Yeah.
I got family from Gary, and I got homies from Gary too that now live where I live.
And you still live in the same city you grew up in?
Nah, so I live about 2 hours south. I live in a place, Evansville, Indiana.
Okay, Evansville sounds good.
Evansville is like where like Winter Jam will come through. Craig's been through.
Gotcha. More developed.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's more developed for sure.
Yeah. And so you said something about growing up. Were your parents, were y'all in like poverty initially? Like, tell me about how your parents got together. Like, what was the life? What was the life?
You know, like as a kid, I didn't think we was. I thought
it's always like that.
I was like, man, life is lit. I got 2 brothers. You know, I have an older sister too, who is 10 years older than me from my mom's previous marriage. And so she never really like stayed with us. It wasn't until like a short season that she lived with us. But growing up, it was always me and my brothers. And, you know, I remember we grew up in the same room. There was all 3 of us. We had bunk beds and another one. And so we stayed in the same room. We had like a small house, and I never thought that we was in poverty, but my mom and my dad would tell us stories like, yo, we were broke. Like we had nothing. We were struggling. And my dad, like now I can look back with appreciation because I see how my dad worked so hard to break the ties that were on his family for generations. Like even people, like some of his siblings, some of his cousins that dealt with drugs, that dealt with poverty, jail, stuff like that. Sure. My dad was so determined.
How did he get out?
To not go that route. My dad's a military, he's a Army vet.
Gosh,
so my dad, what was crazy is my dad was an Army vet, but before that he was an athlete. So like crazy athlete, like track and field, like super athletic, super fast, and was actually gonna have like the opportunity to eventually be in the Olympics. Like he was very, very talented, but then he chose to go into the Army. And then they went to the Army. They moved out to Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah,
So that's where both of my brothers were born, was in Savannah. And then when they got pregnant with me, they moved back home to Terre Haute. And I was like, man, why couldn't I be born in Georgia, man? Like, if all the brothers get to be in Savannah, Georgia, I got to come to Terre Haute.
Right.
But yeah, like growing up, it was different because like I'm from a conservative state, you know, so it's very like, and I'm biracial, so it's already weird enough.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying, and this is, I don't want to ask, but what time frame of like this? Like this is like mid 2000s, like growing.
Yeah, so this is like, so I was born in '93. So so growing up like as a young kid, or let's say 2000s. 2000s is really what I remember.
So you're like biracial, and you're in Indiana.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot going on right there.
Yeah, it's I understand so much more now than I did back then. Cause like I be going to places when I visit places like LA or New York and I'm talking to people and they're talking about things like racism and stuff, and I'm like, yo, this ain't nothing new to me. Like I'm from a place where like they'll say it to your face. Like where I live, my hometown, the city over is called West Terre Haute. And it's known for, it's not like that as much now, but back in the day, it was known for, it's a sundown town. Like, yo, you go over there, when the sun go down, it get different. You know what I'm saying? So growing up, I never went over there. You know what I'm saying?
People knew that.
Yeah, 100%. People knew that. Like, hey.
In the 2000s.
In the 2000s, do not go over there after dark. Do not. Because you'll either get jumped, robbed, beat up, you even get killed. Like, you just don't do that. It's a lot better now. It's a lot different. I think as times have progressed, like it's turned into a different city. Like I remember I was visiting there a year ago, and I was like driving through the city because my wife is originally from there, which is crazy.
I got so many questions.
Yeah, I know. Right? We're gonna attack it all.
I got so many questions.
So we were driving through, and I remember seeing a black person. I was like, "Yo, like hold on." I'm like, dang, we progressed, didn't we?
Moving
on up. Like, right. I'm like, yo, like, okay, culture, come through, you know what I'm saying?
Culture, crazy.
But yeah, growing up, being biracial was so weird because like, you don't necessarily know where to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, part of my white family didn't really accept us, you know what I'm saying? Because my mom married a black man, and like, they would still kind of be around, but it was only really like, my one aunt and uncle on that side and my cousins that I remember really accepting us. And even like grandparents on that side, like I think we've reconciled some things, and I think they would say that they love me now. But looking back, I can see how they were slow to love because of my mom marrying a black man. And then on my dad's side, my dad was trying to get away from like everybody always asking him for money. He always had to give people, you know, he was the one who made it out. You know what I'm saying?
Guilt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I tell people I was raised by my parents and by my grandma. Like, my grandma is like
on your dad's side.
On my dad's side, yeah. Like she's like a rock to me. I was just talking to her this past weekend and just asked. I was like, Grandma, like, where's family really from? Like, where do we get? And she would tell me like, hey, we got light skins on my side too. She's like, you know what I'm saying? She's like,
that's that old school talk right there.
Yeah, right. She's like, hey, we got light skins. You're not the only one, baby. Like, that's how she would talk. And but it's a different experience.
I have so much questions to go deeper, even on the next segment. I want to learn like walk us through like the day to day of that. And I think because I think you are you have so much relevance in the Christian hip hop, Christian R&B space. Yeah. And you've done interviews, you've done stuff before, and I think this is a good opportunity for people to get to know you even more deeply. Yeah. To not just know who's this guy popping up on my scene with the R&B vibe, but there's a whole like story and testimony there that I think is good to reshare and to share on this platform as well. So we'll be right back, y'all. This is the 116 Live, Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. Meah Evans, Ace Harris, Young Kriss with a K. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back, y'all. This is the 116 Live, Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. I'm Ace Harris, Meah Evans, Young Kriss, going through the Young Kriss journey. Like I said, we're just talking shop and unpacking your life story. I mean, I think it's intriguing to know, like, Indiana, small town, biracial, now Christian R&B. Like, what was the temperature of faith growing up in your household, and how did you even come to faith? Like, what was that look like, man? I know you guys moved from Savannah. You said your dad worked his way up, and he's trying to escape some of the trauma of his background. And your mom, I'm assuming, is getting outcasted for marrying a black dude. And where do y'all? How does faith intersect y'all's family at that moment?
You know, it's interesting. Like, I wouldn't say I grew up Christian, but I also wouldn't say that I grew up without knowing who God was. Right. Like, not truly knowing who God was, as you know what I'm saying, knowing him as Jesus, but like having an idea of who God is. You know, my family, my mom is a very strong-willed woman. She's a very strong-willed woman. She's a very determined woman, and she's a very protective and loyal woman. So my mom is one of the greatest people that I've ever had in my life. And to be a white woman who raised 3 black kids, and to be able to, and it's funny because, like, I say black because that's all I've ever known me to be. Like, and it's weird because, like, the climate today in society is like, there's these conversations of like, well, you're biracial or you're this or you're that. But like, when I tell people, I'm like, yo, I grew up black. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the culture was black, how I spoke, everything about like the culture and everything I lived in. People they didn't view me as biracial. They viewed me as black. You know what I'm saying? And for my mom to raise 3 young men, to be strong and to be kind and to be compassionate, but to also be protective. Like, she did a really great job. And my dad is the greatest man. I don't want to get worked up thinking about it, but like my dad, he's the greatest man, the greatest example of a man outside of Jesus that I've had to see. And I probably don't tell him that enough.
He gonna hear it.
You know what I'm saying? He gonna hear it.
Man. Yeah. He's smiling right now.
You know what I mean? I just remember growing up, you know how you have core memories? I have a core memory of me laying on my dad's chest and playing with his hands. And for some reason, like, I just remember, like, his hands felt so big. You know what I mean? And I was holding my son one time, and I remember he was playing with my hands, and it reminded me of that. And I was like, dang, I get it. But yeah, they taught us about God. We didn't go to church. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was rough. You know what I'm saying? We was rough around the edges.
What does rough look like? What do you mean by that?
You know, I mean, I think that my parents were doing the best that they could to raise 3 respectful young men. Sure. But you know, my mom, she drank. They would party. Sure. My dad didn't drink. He didn't smoke. He didn't do any of that. He was pretty much like well reserved, straight and narrow.
Military guy.
Yeah, exactly.
About his business.
But me and my brothers, we was wilding. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was like, I was a light skin in a city where, you know what I'm saying, like, we was a rare form. So
I know where you're going, Kriss.
You know what I'm saying?
I know where we going.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
boy, they was on you.
They was on me. You know what I'm saying? And
playing
like,
with your hair.
Oh my God.
I mean, I had the curls.
Man.
So like, growing up, I never went to church or none of that. Like, I didn't have homies who were Christian. So like, yeah, I didn't grow up like that. I didn't really know who Jesus was until later in life. It was when I turned 20 years old. I remember I hit the lowest part of my life. At the time I was dating or broken up with my now wife, and we had a toxic. You know, I was light skinned, bro. I was out here just wild with it, and we had a really toxic relationship. And I remember hitting the lowest point of my life. We split up for a few months, and I was ready to end everything. I I was done.
When you say end everything, what is it?
Unalive myself. Like, I was ready to give up on life. I was in the kitchen of my condo apartment that I shared with my brother. I had lost my job because I was so depressed. I wasn't performing, so they fired me. I had no car. I had no bread. The only thing that I had to eat in my house was this 2-week-old tuna mac that I had made. And I had to keep putting hot sauce on that joint to make sure that it like had some type of flavor. But I remember I was looking through cushions on my couch to find coins to go buy some cigarettes. Like, that's how down bad I was. And I remember I hit the lowest point in my life and I was ready to end it all. And I went to my kitchen and I was going to do it. I had already put a plan in place to get the things that I needed to, but it wasn't quick enough.
But you was really at the edge.
The edge is right here. I was looking at it. And so I went to my kitchen, grabbed a knife, and I was about to do it. And the craziest thing happened. The Lord showed me a vision. And he showed me a vision of a lake of fire. And I remember in that moment not understanding what I was seeing, but I could tell what I was feeling. Something in my spirit, I could feel it. But I don't have theology. I don't know nothing about like what this is. And it stopped me. And when I came to, my mom knocked on my door with 2 police officers. And I went and answered the door, and that was God trying to rescue me. And so that's when I first felt the presence of God. But what's crazy is that like, so fast forward a little bit from growing up, right, as a young kid, I didn't get my first job until I was 18 years old. So I was the baby of 4. So I ain't, I was kind of like the failure child. Like I failed all my classes. Like when I tell you I got straight Fs.
Really?
Bro, I was wild. I didn't.
Was there consequences in the home life?
Yeah, but it was like to the point where they could only, my dad, I remember one time my dad said, Logan, I will give you $1,000 if you just pass all your classes. Pass. I don't need you to get straight A's. Just pass. And I remember thinking, all right, $1,000. What can I do with $1,000? And then I was like, I don't really got a need for $1,000. So I was like, I'm good.
Yo, you tripping,
Man,
dog.
I heard
Tweaking,
parents
bro.
when the last kid come, they just give up.
What's crazy is like when it came to me, I was always artistic. You know what I'm saying? As a child, I was very into like the arts, painting, drawing, music. When I was 7 years old, I was diagnosed with ADHD, extreme ADHD, Tourette's syndrome, and OCD. And so at a young age, I was already labeled 3 different things, right? And so it was a challenge raising me. Like I give kudos to my mom for how she had to handle me and for my dad, because I was a difficult child to raise, but they just knew there was something about him that is special, and they had to move in grace and patience, and sometimes that had to come with a belt, you know what I'm saying? But like they just knew. So like even though I was in school and I was failing and I was skipping school and getting in trouble, getting arrested and doing all these dumb things, they knew something was special, so they tried. And I remember my dad like telling me, "Hey, I believe in you, but you have to believe in yourself." And I remember having that conversation with him in the car. We used to talk on car rides. And the times when it was uncomfortable is when he was disappointed and there was no talking. And that's when I felt everything the most. So they didn't have to punish me the way that they punished my older brother and my middle brother. You know, my middle brother was a straight A student, you know, low-key nerd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like he was
high performing.
Yeah, like that was him. Rule follower. My oldest brother was like athlete, popular, but also got decent grades, but like was just too cool. I was the defiant, do it at my own pace, do whatever I want, and go against the grain type of person.
Wow.
So for the Lord to really do what he did in my life and to change it the way he did a work. But like, yeah, man, like growing up, it was a lot of things, obstacles, I would say, already out the gate.
Right.
So whenever I came to the Lord, I had already had people, when I got my first job doing door-to-door sales at 18 years old, I met a man who was a Christian and he was the regional manager. He would just pour in over time. Take me out in the field, teach me how to sell, all that stuff, teach me how to communicate.
That's what I'm saying, because I'm hearing you. You sound you went to college and you.
Man, no, I didn't go to no college, bro.
You sound you sound
Look,
like you really. Your articulation is very.
Door-to-door sales taught me that. I am a high school dropout.
Oh.
So when I was 18, I got in trouble. I got arrested for intimidation because I was in another toxic relationship that ended terrible. We were young, immature, and I made the mistake of threatening somebody's life. And so I got charged with intimidation and got booked, went to jail, everything, got out eventually. And
it's still on your record?
I don't think it's still on my record now. I think it might have, it was like you take a plea for like a misdemeanor or something. But yeah, like then I got my first job after that. I was like, all right, I'm 18. I got to get some type of job. Didn't even have my license at that point. And the man that I met, my boss, was a Christian. And he used to always pour into me, but I didn't receive it. Like he would try to talk to me about Jesus. He would try to talk to me about scriptures. And I'm like, bro, nobody's trying to hear that Jesus stuff. Bro. Like, I'm not trying to hear it. And I was rapping back then. And he was like, bro, you're gifted. Like you could do this. If you would just give your life to God, he will take you where you want to go with your music. And I used to always be like, nah, that's corny. You know what I'm saying? And like, I was too much in love with the world. I couldn't see what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
But the moment I was in my apartment and God showed me that vision, the first person that came to my mind was the person who had poured into me for 2 years and I resisted it. And when I went to the hospital, they checked me out. I lied to them, said I wasn't going to do it, denied the truth. Let me go home. I'm not staying in this hospital. First person to call me was him. And I just saw how God was setting things up. And from that moment, I remember he was like, yo, I'm with such and such. It was a common friend who used to work with us. I'm showing them your music, man. Like they said if they had a CD, they would take their Rick Ross CD out and listen to you. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, but I know you're not wanting to have the conversation now. And I say, look, this is what just happened. This is where I'm at. If Jesus is real, I follow. Teach me that he's real. If he is, and he shows up as real, I will follow.
Wow.
And he's like, for real? And I was like, bro, like, what else I got to lose? I don't got nothing to lose by following Jesus.
Right. You was at the end of your life.
I was at the end of my life. So I was like, if he's real, cool. So he's like, bet. So he starts setting up stuff for me. And I went to church for the first time that next weekend. And that was my first encounter with God where I felt his presence take burdens away from me. You know how the word says that those who are weary and heavy burden, right? Come to me and I will give you rest. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. I remember I'm in church and I'm already weirded out because I'm like, bro, I'm one of the only like brothers in here. Like, this is kind of weird. And then I'm seeing people raising their hands, worship, and I'm like, what is this? This is weird. And they played Give Me Faith by Elevation Worship. And it said, give me faith to trust what you say, that you're good and your love is great. And in that moment, something about that, the anointing on that, lifted burdens from my shoulders. And I just started weeping. And I prayed for the first time. And I said, God, if you're real, you got to change my heart. Because I love the world too much.
That's crazy.
And he heard my prayer. And I tell people now, I'm like, yo, when I prayed, I said, God, if you're real. And he was not scared.
That's so dope.
He did not care. He was like, and he started changing my heart, bro. Just started, I started getting discipled. I moved to a different city, got discipled.
That's a good, you moved to a different city. What was the why behind that?
Because I had to get out.
Yeah, I think some people need to, the environment gotta, for discipleship and transformation.
Yeah. I had to get away because like my homies at the time, like, you know, I was still, it was like a 3 or 4 month process between having that moment with the Lord and then finally moving away, right? So I was still kicking it in that 3 to 4 months. I was kicking it with my same homies. I remember we was in the crib and, you know what I'm saying, we're smoking, drinking. And I remember they was rolling up and they tried to pass it to me. And I was like, nah, I'm cool. They're like, what? Bro, come on. And I'm like, I feel like God don't want me to do this right now. They were like, man, you could be a Christian and smoke. I was like, and most people would crumble right there.
They would have folded right there.
They would have folded.
Sure.
And I remember being like, I don't know, dog. I feel like I'm not supposed to. So they're watching the movie Insidious and like all this demonic stuff. And I remember I used to be terrified of scary movies. Like terrified because I used to have bad dreams. Yeah. Now I understand why I used to, because I used to get attacked. by demonic things. But like, I'm watching it and I'm like, this scary to y'all? Like, ain't nothing scary about it. Y'all know that Jesus is like more powerful than this, right? And they're like, what? And so like, I started to see my heart change because I made that prayer.
Yeah.
But then, I'm still kicking it with my homies. We still partying on the weekends. I still was drinking. And I remember before I moved, we actually threw a going away party for me. Yeah, bro. Like a full blown out going away party, bro. Like,
crazy.
We was in there smoking, drinking, girls dancing, everything.
It was like Lent for you.
yeah, like exactly.
It's like I'm about to purge all this, bro.
It was like get it out the system.
Get it out
now,
the system,
and then we'll be good. And I remember that night, the Lord had to do another work. So I'm in there, and I remember I had 2 rules. I said, "Hey, no fighting or no nothing like that." And I said, "And there's 2 people that cannot come. If they show up, you got to kick them out." And the reasons behind that were like relational things. And I said, protect me in that. And my homies didn't even protect me in that because like 30 minutes later, I seen them both pull up. I was like, gosh. And I remember praying. I was like, man, I don't want to do something stupid. And then I ended up running into one of them. Mm-hmm. And I remember in that moment, I was about to fire off and do something stupid. And this guy came up behind me and picked me up. And he said in my ear, he was a homie of mine. He said, God don't want you to do this right now. And I was like, and this is somebody who's not spiritual at all. But God spoke through him and it was telling him, tell him now. So you know how your homies be like, bro, chill. And like, he was like, God don't want you to do this. So I went upstairs with my now wife and we prayed upstairs at a party and God gave us peace. And we was up there praying for like 15 minutes straight.
Wow.
And he just gave me peace. And I remember saying, I'm done with that. As soon as I moved, God started changing my heart. I said, I got to step away from this. Moving was essential for me, bro, because I had to get away from the environment that was so familiar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. I think that's a powerful way. And I think it's good to kind of walk through that so I can kind of see. I didn't know any of that about you.
Yeah. A lot of people don't.
I had no idea, bro.
I've not done a lot of interviews. To a lot of people, I'm new to the world. They're like, well, who's this young Christian?
I had no idea.
How he popping up on my feed every day? You know what I'm saying?
You was in that. You said you loved the world. Like really, that was you.
Yeah.
And that's all you knew.
That's all I knew.
And I think it's good to see you on this other side. It's like, oh, you really love the Lord.
Yeah.
It wasn't a facade. God rescued you out of your mess, man, and brought you to a place of love and peace. The peace that you and your then girlfriend, now wife, pray for. And I think I'm so glad that you guys found that peace, man. So when we come back, I'm going to get into how that turned into the music that you got going on, man. But this is the 116 Life Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. Be right back, y'all.
And we're back here on the 116 Life here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. Ace Harris, Meah Evans checking in with young Kriss. Okay, so you said you transitioned from, you said you used to do hip hop.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to when the shift happened where you went from hip hop to then you wanted to go into R&B.
So when I was in high school, I was making music. I remember I had when I was maybe 13 when I recorded my first song, and I was singing on it. It was he's not my cousin, but where we from? He'd be like, that's my older cousin.
Yeah.
And he was a rapper. His house was like the trap house, low key. It was crazy. Not even low key, high key, but. I remember I recorded and I fell in love with making music then. So then I learned how to do it on my own at like 14, 15. So I was like using a Rock Band mic and the video games and all that stuff. And I was recording on my laptop. Then when I came to God, I put music down because I thought that it was evil.
Right.
And then God was like, no. This is a gift, right? So then I started doing Christian rap. And this is back when like nobody knew who I was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was still going by Young Kriss. But I started making music from 2015 to 2018. And then 2019, I dropped some EP, or I dropped an EP called Depravity. And in that, I was very melodic. So like I was starting to experiment with like melodies and stuff. But I could always like sing. And then in 2020 hit and I laid down music because it wasn't providing for my family. At this point, I'm having kids. And I remember told my wife, I say, look, as much as I love music and as much as I feel called, if we have another kid, I will put music down because I understand I'm spending money on music. But It's not making money. And I can do ministry outside of music.
That's so humble.
You know what I mean?
humble.
Dog.
It
Oh
didn't
my
feel
gosh.
humble. It felt like obligation. But I was willing to do it. But it goes back to my dad. My dad was a man who would sacrifice so much for my mom to have what she wanted and for us to have what we had. And so that was my mentality, but it was also the Lord doing it. He was building up a wisdom in me. And so I was like, I'll lay down music and I'll find a way. And so that's when I picked up videography because I wanted to film my own music videos because I couldn't afford it. So I'd already bought a camera and I was like, you know what? I'll learn this camera and I'll try to make some side money. I ended up taking that and turning it into a whole business. So now I'm doing weddings, I'm doing commercials, I'm doing short films, I'm doing all this stuff. And I'm working in full-time ministry, doing youth ministry. And I quit music at this point. Well, my brother, I talked about him earlier, Don Reddy. That's one of the greatest friendships I will probably ever have in this life. And we met in 2015 when I started making Christian rap. And God spoke to him and said, don't let this man quit. There's something I'm trying to do with him. Don't let him quit. And so he was patient in that. He was like, okay, I'm going to still be around, influence, all this stuff. But he saw my sacrifice and he honored it. So then 2020, 2021, 2021, I went to a writing camp just to be there with one of my other homies. He's my producer. And he was going out to LA and I wanted to be like big brother protective, like, hey, be careful. So I was like, next time you go, take me. And I went out there and I'm writing for these artists who are not Christian artists at all. And I started realizing how gifted my pen was. And then I was like, oh, okay. And so the desire started to slowly creep back in. 2022 comes around and my homie Don and Nate, they're like, yo, let's get in the studio and just cook. And I'm like, I got edits to do. Like, I'm not trying to do all that. And they're like, nah, let's just do it. Let's just send some stuff off to LA. Maybe they'll do something, get a sync placement, something. I don't know. All right. So we go in, we do a 15-minute drill. The first song that we did, we're rapping. And I was like, you know what? Let's sing. Second 15-minute drill that we do, we make the song too serious.
Whoa.
So Nate is in there, he's producing. He finds one of his samples he already made. And then he just starts adding drums, hi-hat, boom, boom. Me and Don are like just vibing. 5 minutes goes by. Cool. Now it's time to write. All right, cool. We're trying to write lyrics and like, this feels weird. This feels weird. This could work. And I was like, I write on the mic. That's how I write.
Gotcha.
I like to sing out the melody. So then I was like, all right, the next 5 minutes, let me track. Let me write on the mic. And we go in there and I remember I hit, don't take it that serious. And then I was like, ooh. And then Don was like, oh, don't take it too serious. And he was like, if it don't go, I wait. And I was like, oh, you're cooking. And so we laid it down in 5 minutes, the hook. First version of Too Serious is trash, by the way. It'll never see the light of day. But that was a moment where I was like, oh, we eventually, we fleshed out the song and we sat on it for like 6 months. And then we were like, let's release this. So that was my first release in like 4 or 5 years.
First release, that's crazy.
Yes.
And what it did on social media, it was like, that was the Lord saying, come back. And when I did that, I made the decision. I was like, I don't want to rap anymore. Like rap to me is easy. Especially I can freestyle really well. But I love it. I studied it. But rap to me was just easy. And I'm an emotional type of writer. So I want to write songs from a more intimate place.
Right.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do R&B. And at the time, there was only a handful of people making R&B. The people that, I was talking about this earlier today, the people that I can think of is like Jordan Armstrong.
Yep, Jordan.
V-Rose. There's a guy, Uninvited, Stevie Rizzo. There was a handful. But nobody was championing it.
Yeah.
Nobody was pioneering with it. There was no way not like CHH.
Sure.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make Christian R&B. And everything I put out, I'm saying Christian R&B, Christian R&B, Christian R&B. So that's when I made my first song, Broken and Known, that I was kind of already working on, but then Ready for It All. I made Ready for It All. And the response was so great. And I just fell in love with it. So that's how I transitioned into R&B, was like, you know what? I don't want to rap anymore. I want to sing. I want to be able to do this for a long time. And singing just translates so much easier
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
It does. Melodies. I think what's dope is that you weren't, like for music kind of like pursued you a little bit the second time.
Yeah.
And then like you didn't, and then when that's your second song y'all make on y'all session, that's the song that literally goes viral.
Yeah. That was
Cracks
it.
over. So it was pretty much like confirmation, it felt like. Talk about how that kind of like helped you to see, yo, I think God wants me to do this.
Yeah, it was a process.
Okay.
So I heard y'all talking, about like sometimes seasons of life are longer. They're a process, right? Not everything comes instantly.
No.
And it was like, we dropped that song and it did like 20 streams a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody knew who we were. But then we started making content. I promoted that song for a whole year. And what's crazy is God was using my gifts in videography that I learned while I put music down. Now I'm shooting all my own content. I'm editing all my own content. And we're just running it up on TikTok, Instagram, and just posting it and seeing what it does. And then it just started going viral. Like, I mean, every clip, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, what is this? And it was confirmation to me like, oh, this is real. Like people actually love this. But it didn't hit me until the first time I performed that song in front of a crowd. I was at Glowvember back in 2023. And with Miles, shout out to Miles Minnick. That's the homie. But we was out at Glowvember and it was me, it was Alex Jean, Caleb, Don, DKG. Like it was all of us, bro. Like Child Like CC, all of us was just out there mobbing. And it came to our set. And I did not expect the response that we got when we hit that stage. That's when it was real to me. The impact was real. And when we got to Too Serious, when I tell you the whole entire room singing it word for word from the top of the song to the bottom of the song.
It's crazy.
And that was the moment where I said, oh, we can do this.
Right.
And God has blessed us to do this. And like, it's real. It's not just social media, but it's real. That was the moment that I was like, I can do this. And then it became more of, I want to be obedient to this thing, to this gift. I want to manage it.
You know what
I'm saying? I want to be able to take care of the talents that I have. I don't want to just go on a whim. I want to take it serious. Even though my top song was "Don't Take It Too Serious," you know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to take it serious. So
that's so dope, man.
That was the transition into R&B.
That's so dope. Yeah, I feel like you definitely like have carved out a lane. I mean, and you've been consistent.
Yeah.
I would say like I feel like you're always on my timeline.
Yeah.
You dropped. I mean, if you just really started getting cracking in 2022, but I feel like you got like a 6-year career. It feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about your work ethic. Is that just how you're built? Like, are you doing this full time? Like, how did you get so much activity, consistently to kind of get
especially
going?
having the background of being the failure kid. You know, being like, I don't need $1,000, so now I'm getting this discipline.
Like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
What's crazy is like what you said. Like, I'm naturally just a lazy person. I really am. I'm being.
That's honest.
Look, I love just trying to be honest with y'all. Like, I am my flesh. I'll say my flesh.
Okay.
God done did some things. You know what I'm saying?
In your flesh suit. You know what I'm saying?
I tend to be lazy, and but I'm very passionate. So it's a weird balance. So I've always been the type of worker. This is why I don't work well with like working for an organization. Like I've worked regular jobs. I've worked in banking. I say banking, it was collections. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I've
might have called me a few times.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but I never was a good employee. But I understand why. Same reason I wasn't a good student. The system didn't work well for me because I'm a creative and I'm very passionate. And if I'm not passionate about it, it's hard for me to work hard at it. So where the work ethic came was a mixture of things. The first one is that I'm passionate about it. I care so deeply. And music has been the one thing, and arts, but like mainly music has been the one consistent passion that I've had my entire life. Because passions will come and go.
That's true.
You may get passionate about fashion, and then you hit 35 and you're like, I don't really care about fashion no more for real. You become passionate about cooking. And it's like, now I want to learn how to cook the perfect steak. I went through that season. You know what I'm saying? I love cooking steak. But passions come and go, but this one is consistent. But I think it's because it's tied to my calling and my purpose.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And so where I try to work hard is like, I fail still at a lot of things.
Sure.
but how can I consistently show up and work and be passionate about it? That's the first thing. The second thing is I have a Don ready in my corner. Not everybody's got a Don ready. And what people don't know about Don is very intellectual. He's very strong-minded. He's one of the most strong-minded people that I know. And he's very dedicated and like, I'm not finna let nothing. The way his mom raised him, shout out to Ma, the way that she raised him was like very strong-minded. Like, yo, we ain't got time to sit here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I have that in my corner pushing me even when I'm at my lowest. Because I still experience lows. Like, it's hard. Being in this industry and being an artist full-time to take care of people, it's hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's bills to be paid. You got to manage things. You got to do your taxes. You got to do, you know what I'm saying? All that.
That's right.
And you got 3 kids.
And then I got 3 kids. I got 3 kids who are dependent on me. If I don't come through, my wife and my kids, they go without. And so the pressures of life come in. But I have a team who is very much for me and selfless. And we're like that for each other. That's how we grew. Me and Don started popping off because we were serving each other. I was filming all his content for free.
For the love, man, that's so dope,
just doing
bro.
It. Editing it, I would spend
Y'all
hours.
weren't out here trying to like get a bag or pop.
Bro,
we didn't know there was a bag.
Bro.
Y'all were just doing out of the goodness of your heart, serving the cultures.
Each other, not trying to get with the hottest artists at the moment. Y'all were just out valuing each other.
That's what, when I see y'all, it just seems really genuine.
That's
like it feels like pure joy. I love this, and I think that's why God been breathing on it.
Yeah,
I feel like God chooses who He elevates.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's what it feels like. And it's a good that he breathed on the right people, with the right intention in it.
Yeah.
Talk about that work ethic that drove you to build the Christian R&B festival and the other things you got going on before we kind of wrap it up.
I care, man. I care. My heart is. I don't just care about the genre. I care about people. I love people, and sometimes that's hard because people don't love you back, and that hurts.
Yeah.
And I've experienced a lot of hurt even in the last 2-3 years. But I've also experienced a lot of good things. And my heart hasn't changed. It's for the culture. I understand the call on my life. I understand what God is trying to do through me for Christian R&B. And so I carry that on my shoulders. Even when because I've met a lot of great artists, and then I met artists who struggle with things like identity and insecurity and selfishness. And and then I've had to meet that with grace. And that's hard when you're passionate about something. But my heart hasn't changed. I want to see Christian R&B grow and expand because I understand the audience that is ready for it. There are people who love R&B music that probably won't listen to hip hop, but they don't have anybody making music that can drive them back to God or meet them where they're at. That's what I want to do. I want to pioneer in a way, not for myself. Look, people have told me, they're like, man, you're going to be the Lecrae of Christian R&B and like all these things. And I'm like, that sounds really dope. But my goal is not to be the king. My goal is to take people to the king. Like, I want people to know Jesus. I want people to know unity. I want to come into a genre and see all these talented artists and be like, how can I give you a platform? What can I do with my gifts to help? You know, it says that there's the eye can't say to the hand, I don't need you.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, everybody's a part of the body. How can I do my part as the body? And if that means that God is going to use me to help pioneer, so be it. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I sense from you is it's about raising up everybody.
Yeah.
That's why I'm cheering you on. And I feel like you got a good thing that you're doing, bro. Your life story is crazy. Its testimony is so powerful. And I'm just encouraged to kind of see what God's going to continue doing in and through you, man. I don't know if you got anything else, Meah, man.
No, I echo everything that you just
for
said.
sure, man.
Absolutely.
Tell people where to find you, any upcoming releases before we kind of get out of here. Last final thoughts on
For sure. Follow me, Young Kriss on IG, Young Kriss Music on TikTok, or it's Young Kriss, one of them. You'll find me. Just look up Young Kriss. We got HVO Fest happening September 27th. So I don't know when people are seeing this, if it's already happened or if it's getting ready to happen. We're really close to sold out. We got like 20 tickets left. So that's exciting. And then I'm working on new music as well. I got a new project that's going to be dropping in October called Dial Up.
Okay.
And it's very metaphorical for like dial up to God, but also it's like, it's a slow process. Dial up is slow. Sometimes you got to be in a season of waiting. So we got new music coming out. Of course, it's Holy Vibes Forever. And that's
it. Well, here you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Young Kriss, it's the 116 Live Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140 with Meah Evans. See y'all next time.